Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. A seeker, he has two ways, or when he begins seeking, his mind comes across two things. One is, I must surrender, and the second is, I must annihilate the ego. It's like a question. A person goes to the market to buy an egg, and on the way he starts thinking, should I get the chicken or should I get the egg? Should I get the chicken? Should I get the egg? Another example. You got a coin and you want only heads. And you say, oh, but I can see tails. So should I take heads or should I take tails? The coin with tails or the coin with head. The fact is that when you take one, the other comes automatically. Exactly the same way. If we are arrogant in life, or when we are trying to remove arrogance, I should say, then surrender will automatically happen. And when we are surrendering ourselves, arrogance, the ego will automatically get annihilated. But mind is very tricky. It will find some way or the other, some bylanes within its vast expanse to escape from committing to something. Then confusion becomes the excuse for not committing. Surrender is for that person who has some altar in front of him. Altar of God, altar of Guru, Ishta Devta. And towards that, he wants to do the samarpan. He wants to surrender himself. He wants to offer himself. Who wants to offer? The mind wants to offer itself. And few other people who are driven by knowledge, they want to dissect, they want to be in control of the process because they are incapable of offering themselves up completely at an altar. And understand, both paths are parallel. It's not one is better or one is inferior or one is superior. Both are equal. You have to work out which one are you, or keep practicing both and eventually it will reveal which one is the better one, which is the actual one for you. So there we dissect, as we do in Sankhya Yoga. I am the body, I am not the mind, I am not the intellect, I am the conscious principle. And therefore we do Chitta Vritti Nirodha iti yoga tada drushtuhu swarupe avasthanam, and then shift our attention to that conscious principle. Same thing can come about. Our goal must be clear. What is the goal? That the coin must come home. Whether it is having a head or a tail doesn't matter. So what is our goal? That the seeker must come to realize. It does not matter whether we follow the path of enquiry or we follow the path of surrender. It does not matter. But begin. Important thing is beginning. And at times people feel lost even after beginning, when there are no goalposts. Like when we are traveling from here to Melbourne, from Melbourne to Sydney, on the way, every few kilometers, there is a piece of a board or a stone which says 750 kilometers, then it says 700 kilometers, then it says 650 kilometers, then it says, so you know that you are going in the right direction, that you are moving towards the destination, that you have not lost your way. See? Talking about surrender and talking about enquiry, that comes at a later stage. First, we must learn to control ourselves, our mind. Yes, they say mind gets controlled if it is contemplating on the self. But there are many ways by which it can find an excuse not to continue on that path. One first obstacle comes, one first challenge comes, it escapes back to the norm that it knows. Therefore, there is, what are the signs as we are moving on this journey? What are the signs? So we'll just look at one way, and that is, as we are part and parcel of this creation, and this creation, the gross creation and the subtle creation, what is it made up of? It is made up of Panchatattva. Panchatattva is space, air, fire, water, earth. That is what is gone into, that is the material that has gone into it, what we see, hear, touch, feel, taste, isn't it? Now, if the total creation is made out of these 5 elements, then we must be also made up of these 5 elements. Yes, at the sensory level, the nose is the earth element, the tongue is the water element, the eyes are the fire element, the air element also is in the nose, and the air element is the skin, and the space element is in the ears. But when we are told control your senses, we find it very difficult. That is at a later stage. Let's see what else can we do, which is So yes, you can do that, and you can come above when you have controlled your senses. That means what you see, what you hear, what you touch, what you smell, what you feel does not invoke a reaction out of you, out of the seeker. Then the five elements are incapable, have become impotent, and he has transcended the five elements. Another way to look at it is the when we are sitting on the seat of meditation, the Mooladhar is the earth element. What does earth do? It digests everything. It's a Kshama Rupini. But when you are not synchronized with that element at the Mooladhar, then fear, insecurity, this is the norm. So the Mooladhar is the earth element, the genitals are the Swadhishthan is the water element, taste, that's where the desire is. See? Then the third is the Manipur. Manipur is where the fire is, the digestive fire. And what does fire do? It says, I want more, I want more, I want more, so that it can keep burning. When that fire is not wanting the infinite, more infinite, continuously, then it is thinking about, when it is not synchronized with, because fire is moving upwards. What is the fuel for that fire? It devours more and more. But when it is devouring the world, it becomes greed. It wants more. This ability that it never gets satiated, the fire. We never get satiated. Whether it is relationships, whether it is travel, whether it is wealth, see, whether it is food, every day we say, oh, I overate. Say, greed, that's where the element fire is. So give up insecurity, give up fear, we have overcome the earth element. Give up desire, we have transcended the water element. Give up greed, we have transcended the fire element. Then next comes the heart chakra. That is where the air element is. See? When we come there, automatically, how do you do this? Just relax your body. Just relax your body. Bring your attention. We don't have to keep dwelling. These are all mental conclusions. So when we come to the heart, that is the air element. And air can travel anywhere. Don't travel anywhere. Air is that which makes you feel hungry and thirsty. Using the air, the thoughts by themselves, they cannot move anywhere. It's the breath which takes them everywhere. The increase and decrease in thoughts is directly proportional to the the increase in breathing and the decrease in breathing, the frequency of breathing. So that make sure that mind is not running away here and there. Then we have we have transcended we are not looking at the mind here directly, we are looking at the air element, that we do not become too emotional, we don't become, we don't pity ourselves, we don't become touch me not. These are all because because of the fire element. And then comes at the that was the Anahat chakra, and then comes the Vishuddhi chakra, which is the throat chakra, and this is where the space is. Then what is the signpost here? How do you recognize you have reached the space? Where you become accommodative. What is the quality of space? It accommodates all the other four elements and is not disturbed by the four elements. Not getting disturbed by four elements means that whether they are present or not present, the space is not affected. So when we reach the Vishuddhi chakra, are we getting disturbed by these four elements? Are we getting disturbed by the insecurity, by desires, by greed, accumulation, by emotions? Or have we come to be accommodative? Accommodative means all thoughts in our mind are on account of these four first. So what we are doing is reducing the number of thoughts in our mind. Chitta vritti nirodha iti yoga. So as we go higher and higher in our journey, directly proportional to that is a reduction of thoughts in our mind. See, and if that is not happening after satsang, when you come to the seat of meditation, or when we take the japa mala and start doing the japa, if this is not happening, then we are going the wrong way. See, space does not like or dislike any of the four elements. Sun does not like or dislike the day or the night. From the sun's point of view, day and night are both not existing only. From the space point of view also, the other four elements, the space is the cause and the four elements are the effect. See, cause alone is expressing as the effects. From the water's point of view, there is nothing called ocean, nothing called waves. Similarly, from the space point of view, what would be the disposition towards the other four elements? What would be the disposition towards the insecurity, desire, greed, and emotionalism, or what would it be? Waste of time. Indifference. Because they don't have any existence apart from me. Now space is established in itself. See? But then one question comes when we come to the space. And what is that? Who knows now the earth, water, fire and air have been transcended. Now there is no disturbance in the mind. with regards to those. There is utter silence. Who knows this? Can the mind know it? If mind knows it, that very moment the thought will also come. And when there is no thought, oh, I have come to the Vishuddhi Chakra. Now there is silence. There is no disturbance whatsoever. I am silent. And then the mind goes silent. When the mind goes silent, are you there or are you not there? When the mind goes silent when you go to sleep, are you there or not there? I am there, but I don't know that I am there while I am sleeping. But when this is consciously done, I have got no doubt that I am there, because I am illuminating the absence of all the four elements. Absence of four elements is called space. Now contemplate. Is absence an object of contemplation? See how real we have taken this world to be. On one hand we say the earth came from water, water came from fire, fire came from air, air came from space. And what is space? Absence of the four elements. Is there an object called space? How will we contemplate on space then? How will we contemplate on space? The masters say, listen to silence. How do you listen to silence? Is there a, like I am observing you right now, can I observe space like this on the seat of meditation? When I observe space, emptiness, absence of the other four elements, it will take me into void. Void means it will create a unwanted fear of absence. Fear will come in again. And usually the seekers who have begun this journey knowingly or unknowingly, they are not able to handle this fear. Two things happen. Either fear comes or experience of bliss comes. But both are temporary. If it is fear, you will never come to this disposition again. And if it is bliss, because now there is nothing obstructing your mind, the four elements which are the stimuli, they are absent, you experience the bliss, but you cannot remain empty all the time. And thus when that bliss is experienced, it's only for a short period of time, and immediately after that again the thoughts of something or the other will come. And therefore, at this point, at this juncture, what must a seeker do? The seeker, when he comes to this disposition, that is absence of the four elements, after absence of all disturbances, where his mind is empty, He must shift the attention to the one who knows that the mind is empty, that there is no disturbance. Who knows this? Is it someone outside? Or I only know that there is no disturbance? I only know. With this preparation, when we approach, when we seek, when we inquire, with this purification, then it will be solid. But our situation is that we have not even controlled our tongue. We keep speaking where we are not required to, keep giving opinions where we are not required to, continuously living in insecurity. We still attached to our possessions and relations, and so on and so forth. How are we going to, then what are we doing meditation for? Meditation is not done, it happens. The idea that I sit for meditation 2-3 hours, doing what? You can't do meditation. Meditation is the end game. Meditation is the absorption. Meditation is that when it happens, the individual vanishes or comes to recognize that he is the self, independent of all matter, without a doubt. But here we are, so here the seeker, he must not fool himself that even while interacting with the world, giving importance to the world, giving reality to the world, he can ever come to know the self. Impossible. And this is the bullet that he has to bite. That he must bring about. We can't discard the world. Understand this. As a seeker, we cannot discard the world. We don't have the capacity. Then what do? We start becoming indifferent towards the world. Indifference means whether there is security or insecurity, become indifferent. We will see. Whether there is a desire or not desire, be indifferent. Because if you are not indifferent, some desire will catch you. And so on and so forth. See? So with this thought, our goal in our daily living should be to live such a life that we do not get disturbed by anything in this, what the world is throwing at us. It should not invoke a reaction from us, even by way of thought. Forget about, not at the physical level, even by thought also there should be no reaction. So let's sit in meditation, and as I take you through it, through these steps, close your eyes, keep your back, neck and head in a straight line. A happy disposition, commitment to the self, that it is all that there is, that it is the foundation of everything. In fact, it is everything. There is nothing else apart from the self. And having a clear clarity, conviction that unless and until the mind doesn't dissolve, the self which is always present will not reveal itself. Unless and until the waves on the ocean don't subside, the complete moon will not be seen. If there are waves, the moon will be broken. When there are no waves, the reflection is crystal clear. So is with ourselves. That unless and until the waves of thoughts erupting in the mind have not subsided, till then the self will not reveal. Naturally, the next question will come: where do these thoughts come from? Thoughts in our mind come from two sources. One is from within and the other is from outside. When we look at the creation through our senses, the thoughts come. The subconscious impressions within the mind, the thoughts come. Can we do anything about the subconscious impressions appearing as thoughts in our mind? No, because I don't even know where the subconscious impressions are. Then I deal with what is in my control. With what I can deal with, I deal with. So what do I deal with? With myself. For me, this whole world is there, and for me, this body is there. And I understand that these 5 elements which make the world, the same 5 elements this body is also made up of. And the location of these 5 elements within this body is the Mooladhar, Swadhisthana, Manipur, Anahat and Vishuddhi. Then how do I go beyond? It is not that we have to focus on these 5 chakras. In the Kundalini mark, they focus on these chakras, and there are some Bij mantras one can chant. But very simply, if we create a disposition within our mind and become absolutely trusting of the process, have full faith. See, journey is created only because of lack of faith. If there is full faith within ourselves that I am the pure consciousness, then there is no journey required. Then you don't have to go beyond the earth, water, fire. All this it's a journey in the mind. Why? Because mind is not convinced, doesn't have utter faith that Essentially, it is the infinite consciousness. So this mind must get convinced that there is nothing to fear. And what is the opposite of fear? Trust, faith, acceptance. Of what? Of the divinity, of the truth, of the self. That everything is taken care of. There is nothing lacking. Even though your experience since childhood, we have been programmed that there is lack in this world. No, there is abundance. I am always been taken care of. We have to convince our own mind by our own thinking. Nobody else is going to do that. We can read Bhagavad Gita, we can do the scripture, go through scripture after scripture, but in the end, we have to convince ourselves. Nobody else is going to be able to convince us. And once we have trusted, once we have given up the fear of existence, the feeling of insecurity, then we give up the desire. Desire for the world we give up. This pursuit of happiness from the objects of the world we give up. This desire erupts in our mind only because we have got attached to objects and people of the world. Anything that you get attached to, you have a desire for. And it feeds. If we are insecure, we will desire security. So we give up the desire for the world. If at all, because we cannot eradicate desire straight away. Instead of desiring satisfaction from the objects of the world, we have faith that if I seek the truth, if I seek the self, if I seek the divinity or surrender to the divinity, the desires will get purified. Instead of tamasic desires, which is desire for the world of objects and form, our desires will become sattvic, which is desire for the divine. As we sort this out in our mind, we come to the third stage. And the third stage is desire leads to greed. Insecurity and desire. Insecurity leads to desire. Desire leads to greed. And we want to surround ourselves with people. We want to surround ourselves with things so that we can feel secure. Whether it be wealth, whether it be relationships, whether it be emotions within our mind, whether it be memories, all this collection of data is only to feel secure. Let give that up also and replace all the data of memories of the world, of the relations, by the urge to merge into the divine as the divine. We have conquered the fire element. The fire is continuously burning upwards. How long will it burn? As long as there is fuel for it to burn. So greed creates more fuel for it to burn. Greed itself is the negative fire. Contemplation is the positive fire. And as we saw in the Amrit Anubhav last week, camphor is the fuel and camphor is the fire. Fire is as long as the fuel is there. When the fuel finishes, the fire also goes off. But the self remains. So what goes off? Contemplation finishes. How long will we contemplate? As long as there is data to be exhausted. As long as objectivity is there, mind is there. As long as the mind is there, contemplation is there. How long will the mind contemplate? Till it does not give up objectivity. Till two ways we can look at it. Till it does not surrender at the altar of divine, or till it doesn't, through inquiry, with this process that we are explaining, take away everything, all the things with which the I can associate itself with. When there is nothing for the I to associate with, the I will also vanish. I as a thought. Where I also vanishes, the mind vanishes. Then what remains? The self remains. Then when we transcend the fire element, we come to the air element. Here we can be distracted by our airy-fairy ideas, emotional ideas. But at the same time, air, as we said before, air is an element the more the fluctuation of the breath, more are the thoughts, less the fluctuation, less are the thoughts. As we go through this process, our body becomes still, more still, even more still, and as the breaths become slow and feeble, It's as if the body locks into its position. It is the breath or the air element which creates the activity within the body. If the breath is slow and shallow, the body to a large extent becomes still. And at the same time, the thoughts in the mind also reduce to a large extent. And therefore, as the thoughts reduce and our attention is on the next element, which is space, space is unattached, space is undisturbed by the presence or absence of the other four elements. In other words, these five elements are nothing but projections of our own mind, and now mind has become empty and it is comfortable, undisturbed, not wanting anything, not rejecting anything. It becomes silent. In this silence, in this emptiness, I am. Without me, the cognition of the four elements or the absence of four elements would not have been possible. This mind falls back into itself. Because absence is not an object of cognition. Just as there is nothing called darkness. Absence of light is darkness. There is nothing called shadow. What is shadow? It seems to be there, but it is not there. It doesn't get affected by anything. It doesn't get wet, it doesn't get burnt. If a truck goes on it, nothing happens. Same way. There is nothing called absence. I see everything. There is silence, there is darkness. We are still being objective in our pursuit. Instead of going the way of darkness, looking at darkness, thinking of darkness or absence, shift your attention to the presence that I am.